Hey guys, so it has been an absolutely crazy year in real estate here in 2024. We've seen so many changes. So what does 2025 have in store for us? What are we going to be expecting? We will look into my crystal ball and see what should we be looking at as we are making our plan to make the relocation in the new year. Or if you're here locally, more hyper-local information that you should be aware of if you are looking to buy or sell a house. So with that, we are part of the GGAR, or Greater Greenville Association of Realtors, and we look at this information every month to say, okay, well, what happened in this month? What happened in last month, previous months? What happened in the year-to-date months? So for this purpose, we're going to look at the year-to-date numbers, 2023 over 2024. One of the first things I want to show here is we are sitting here in December and new listings. So in 2023, we were still feeling effects of COVID and low inventory, and also some effects as far back as the housing crisis and builders trying to get up and going and build more houses. So last year, there were 15,900 new listings in the Greenville MLS alone. That is not counting the Spartanburg MLS or the Anderson MLS that we are a part of. And so we have seen then going into 2024, couple thousand house increase here. And this could be new construction, this can be single family residences, but we have seen 18,500 or so new listings in 2024. That's a 16.8% change right here. What does that do to the market? Well, what we have seen is we have seen the average days on market here in the upstate drastically increase. I remember whenever it was back in like 2021, days on market got as low as 28 days. And we have been seeing days on market gradually increase since then. Right now, we're seeing 47 days on market as an average. This is only an increase of 2.2%. Now, I would have anticipated, just from what I'm feeling as a realtor, that this would be higher. At the same time, this also tells us that people are still buying houses, and it's taking about a month to a month and a half to buy houses. And it's very specific for certain areas, and we can go hyper local on markets specifically. If you're looking in Greer, or if you're looking in Easley, or if you're looking in Simpsonville, those markets all move at different paces. And so knowing that average days on market is going up, that means for you guys that as soon as a house hits the market, we're not scrambling to go see it, make an offer within 24 hours to 48 hours. We usually have somewhere between, at least a couple of days up to a week to 2 weeks to actually have time to go and see that house. Something else that happened this year is we've had people that we start talking to you 6-9 months before you actually make it out here to make your purchase. That happens all the time, and our team would love to have a pre-conversation to actually buying the house with you. So feel free to go through our website, contact the team, because this conversation is what has led us to really great conversations later, is being able to say, yes, we know that our average price over this year has still continued to go up. So we are up 3.2% just here in the Greenville upstate. So from last year, it went from 370,000 up to 382,000. We also look at that as a month-to-month information, where this month or last month, we actually saw average prices go down for the first time in so long, I can't even remember. So we're experiencing a bit of a slowdown here. What we're also seeing year over year, and what we are anticipating, this list price. Okay, so what that means is we call this a list to sales price ratio. That means that if you have a $400,000 house that gets listed, the likelihood is you're going to be able to go in and negotiate. If it's been on the market for a week, 2 weeks, and it hasn't gone under contract, you are going to have negotiation power. If it has been on the market for more than 2 weeks, you definitely have negotiation power. What does that mean? It means that yes, you can take an offer $10, $20, $30,000 less than list price. This year, we even made some offers as much as $50,000 to $100,000 less than list price. Why is that? Is the housing price going down? Not necessarily. It does mean that we have people listing their homes right now that are overpriced. And that's where the negotiation comes in. Now, are all houses overpriced? No, absolutely not. So when we're talking about pricing, it's relative, okay? We're gonna talk about this as we continue through the video, more about 2025, so stick with me, okay? Affordability, for example. So affordability actually went up this year, if you can believe that. It increased in affordability 8.5% over 2023. Reason behind that, more inventory always means that there's going to be more competition, and there are those negotiations that happen. Here's my little thing to you guys that are thinking, well, we're just gonna wait for interest rates to go down, or we're going to wait until there is more inventory and more of a buyer's market. You don't need to wait, because affordability right now compared year over year is actually not too bad. And let me pose this to you. If you wait for interest rates to go down, and I'm not a lender and we need to get those numbers from our local lenders, so go watch our other videos. Brian McIntosh has been on the channel a couple of times. Get pre-approved. It's not gonna hurt your credit. And it's something that if you are looking to buy, now is the time, because we have negotiation power and we have this availability to be able to go through and say, okay, this is a $250,000 home. This is a $300,000 home. This is a $600,000 home that's been on the market for 4 months. They are going to be willing to negotiate. And it's not just price, it's closing costs, it's stipulations. If I had a way to pull from our market how many sellers paid closing costs for a buyer, I guarantee you that number would be so much higher than it has been over the last 2 years, because houses are sitting on the market longer. So let's go look at some just monthly data. And this is where I think it's very, very interesting. All of these numbers have increased. So our number of units, we are up year over year, just monthly, whenever we look at those numbers, by 20%. Our volume numbers though, whenever you look at this, means that we've got higher priced homes that are coming on the market. Then we look at this average days on market. Very different from our year to date numbers. Month over month, our average days on market for the upstate is up almost a full 10%, almost a full week longer than it was last year. We are looking at 78 days on market. And if you go down through, you can see right here, the solds in 2023, our average days on market was 46 days. Then you go here, 27, 29. We are headed back into a more stable market than we have seen in the last 4 years. 54 days on market, 53 days on market. It is normal for houses to sit for longer. And so if you are local here and you are looking to sell your house, and even if you're not local here and you are saying, hey, we want to make the relocation and we have to sell our house in Florida, for example. One, you should definitely reach out to the team and let us connect you with a highly skilled agent in your area that knows what they are doing in a shifting market. That is a realtor way of saying the market is slowing down and you need to know what you're doing. So with that, this days on market, very important to watch. And we are seeing everything take longer. We just came through a time that it took 24, 48 hours to sell a house. That was a once in a lifetime experience. It's normal to have a house take 2 weeks, 4 weeks, upwards of 2 to 3 months. If you're in a luxury price point, it could take upwards of 6 to 12 months to get your house sold, just because there's not as many buyers looking for your house. As we are looking at the 2025 information here in just a second, I want you to keep in mind that higher days on market, the pricing, the negotiation, everything is what we are looking to really pay attention to as you guys are getting ready to make the move, make the sale, make the big change. And 2024 by no means has been a bad time to sell or buy a house. It has been a much more difficult real estate market though. All right, so here's one of the most interesting graphs that I think I have to show you. And it is a public resource with showing time. And I specifically have it for South Carolina. Let's say you don't live in South Carolina and you want to know, okay, well, what about my state? By all means, contact me. I'd love to chat about what to be expected in your state. But for South Carolina, we're looking at a 7-day moving average, which means that for every 7 days, they are averaging out the past 7 days and then they are recording it. This started back in 2020. So right when COVID happened, they being showing time, started tracking the showings that were happening. And you can see 2020 right here. So I remember exactly when this was announced, March 16th, 17th, right in this area here. For COVID is whenever everything stopped. No houses were being shown for about a month and a half. And then it even took us a minute to catch back up, and it was still lower all year. Then we go into 2021, and that is when everything went crazy compared to this year. So craziest real estate market that we've seen versus this year. Right here, it has followed and been slightly below, but I will tell you, we saw a huge shift in the market right here at the end, kind of mid-year, okay, summertime. All of our showings started slowing down, average days on market started going up, and just looking at the traffic, these dips right here, huge thing to watch whenever you are looking to buy or sell a home, which kind of brings me to the point of what happened right around Hurricane Helene and how that affected everything here. So Hurricane Helene happened right here, 27th. We had a major dip that we don't normally see, which means the real estate market here in the upstate in Western North Carolina, it completely slowed down considerably when normally it would not have. We lost power around here for 2 weeks. We had trees on houses everywhere, and the effects are being felt. So the month of November, there are many business owners that I have talked to just here in the last 2 weeks that have felt the financial strain of all of that missed business in October. Personally, and I share a lot here, we didn't write any contracts in October. We couldn't, and it was a big effect. Now, as we're heading into the new year, I am optimistic, and I think that we're going to, and we are currently feeling the pent-up demand from that time when we had people that were in town to buy houses that didn't get to. They went home. We had people that were here from Florida to buy a house, multiple different people, and they had to go back home because another hurricane was headed through. So this area doesn't see that type of weather ever. And having a hurricane in the mountains it was not on my 2024 bingo card. When do you list a house? I had a whole bunch of people that wanted to list right around July 4th this year. What happens at July 4th? This dip right here was July 4th. Nobody goes out and sees houses. We know that listing in the holidays is hard. And throughout Christmas, people stop looking at houses. Now, that doesn't mean that it's a bad time to list your house. It does mean that you will have very serious buyers that are walking through the house. And I think this is nationwide, okay? You're not gonna deal with the tire kickers. Now, here's what I think is going to be very interesting, and we can go ahead and add back in all this other information here. This year's real estate market has actually not been too bad. It has been better than a 2023 real estate market. More showings have happened. We've got more people out looking. I mean, even 2022's market wasn't as good as this year's market, with as many people that were out showing and looking at houses. So here's what I have to say about the year coming up. With 2025, we're talking to our lending partners, we're following the economists, and we have a new president. Whether you agree with him or not, that is besides the point. A change in the guard is definitely a big deal whenever it does come to the real estate market. Now, I am cautiously optimistic about interest rates and housing inventory. I think what's happening is we have a lot of people that are just kind of holding and waiting until after the new year to list their house. And I truly believe that we are going to see a spike in inventory by the end of January, beginning of February. That's really whenever the spring market happens. Whenever I look into my crystal ball and I say, what's gonna happen in 2025? I see more people entering into the real estate market. If you're gonna wait for interest rates to go down, you will have more competition. That's what makes prices go up. And as we just have seen by these other graphs that we've looked through, we have seen that housing affordability compared year over year, 2024 actually got better for housing. So if you are my generation and you are a millennial, and it's incredibly hard for anyone to buy a house first time around. If you don't have savings, if you are trying to figure this out, I would say don't wait. You need to talk to the team. You need to talk to a lender. It's not going to cost you anything to have a conversation about what's coming up in 2025. Is it something that you can do, say, in the first quarter? So January, February, March, if you are thinking about buying a home, I would do it sooner rather than later into the new year, especially as we have a new administration coming in, and who knows what's going to happen with the stock market. We do know that he's talking about increasing on tariffs, and we know that that gets passed on through the consumer, which then makes things more expensive. So pay attention to what's happening. Now, will that affect housing prices? I don't know. My crystal ball kind of breaks down a little bit whenever I start talking about politics. But at the same time, there is a natural ebb and flow throughout the year. And I do think that prices are going to continue to increase. Now, when we look at my handy dandy graph here, I will say that through the first 3 months of the year, everything will hold steady. Interest rates, from what I'm hearing from they, is that they are anticipating them to start leveling back out and going down. Here in the last 3 months, we have seen interest rates go down and level out just a little bit. I feel like for a moment we were in the low 6s, then we were back up to the 7s. I don't foresee any crazy big weather events happening in the first quarter of 2025, unless we get a big ice storm or something here in the South. That's when those happen. As you're looking at your 2025 plans, there are natural times that the market just peaks and valleys. And it's not that it's a bad time to buy or a bad time to sell. And it is something that if you're looking to sell, we're probably gonna be like, do we have to, do we need to list around the holidays? Or is it a good time to go buy a house because there's not as many people that are out buying houses? All of these components we are looking at. So here's the ending thoughts here. One, I do think prices are going to increase in 2025. Buying sooner in the year is going to be better than later in the year. It's not a bad time to buy. The market that you sell in is the market that you buy in, and have good expectations set for what you are looking for and what you can buy for that price. I know it's easy to dream, and if you can, wonderful. We will help you do that and would love to provide as much information. We're really good at what we do, so reach out to the team. Let me know if you have any other questions. If you want to see some actual real estate, walk through some houses, go look at these videos because they're pretty cool.